Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Monday, December 30th. It is 2024 for a couple more days. We have a 7-game NBA slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Riding solo today. Tim, under the weather, not feeling good, so hopefully he gets to feeling better. Was looking forward to doing one more NBA show with him. Have Will coming on tomorrow, and then that'll be it for NBA and NFL. We will finish out Week 18 and the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then don't know what's going on with the morning grind, but excited to jump back in and talk some NBA here on today's slate. It's an interesting 7-game slate, a lot of injuries that we're going to be paying attention to and kind of just following. A lot of questionable, doubtful already, and we'll see how it kind of pans out throughout the day. Like we always do with NBA. What's up, Yeezy? What's up, Dave? Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. And I got a little distracted by the football game. That's why I'm recording a little later. So got to get up super early and run a volleyball clinic tomorrow morning, so probably shouldn't have gotten distracted by the football game, but hey, we're sports fans through and through, so happens to the best of us. All right, let's jump in and talk about the 7-game slate. We get started with Chicago at he really is. Daniels is awesome. It's going to be really fun watching him over the next 10, 15 years. Chicago at Charlotte, 227.5 total. Chicago, a 6.5 point favorites. AU doubtful, Smith questionable. And then on the Charlotte side, Ball doubtful, Man out, Martin doubtful, Miller doubtful, Williams out. We'll talk about the Charlotte situation in just a minute. Going to the Chicago side, AU being out definitely bumps up maybe a guy like Lonzo Ball getting a couple extra minutes. He's 3,900. He's really cheap. Could see him maybe getting a few extra shots. But overall, I think this is a spot that you could take some shots on Vooch. He's not my favorite 8K play today, but I think he has a really nice floor with a little bit of upside. We always get those upside games from Levine and White. White has been a little, I wouldn't even necessarily say like down on his upside, but his assist numbers are down a little bit and he's not rebounding as much as he was. And I think that a lot of that has to do with like Josh Giddey. And we've seen Josh Giddey have some big games recently. So he came back and he had 29 minutes and had a triple-double against Milwaukee in his return. So could see him, definitely paying off 6,900 in this matchup against Charlotte. So it'd be really interesting to see what projections are looking at as far as AU being doubtful. But overall, I think Vooch for floor, but I think overall, not my favorite team. I don't mind Levine, Giddey, or White. I wouldn't play them together. And then I don't mind Lonzo if AU gets ruled out. On the Charlotte side, we're going to be dealing with a lot of injuries here on Charlotte. A lot of key pieces missing. I think Bridges, first and foremost, is going to get up a ton of shots in this game. I think 7,300 is too cheap for a matchup against Charlotte, fast-paced matchup, or Chicago. So I really like Bridges in this spot. Mark Williams, 5,300. He has some upside. Micic should play 30-plus minutes in this game. You're going to get probably 30 minutes from like Josh Green, 30-plus minutes. He doesn't do a ton. I have more interest in like Saloon than I do in Green. But I think the guy that really kind of benefits the most here is Seth Curry. With all these guys doubtful, Ball, Man, Martin, Miller. That's a lot of guards and wings out. So I think Seth Curry at 3,500, as much as I hate to say it, is a really interesting play today. I think he has a lot of upside. His floor is very low, but I think like anytime you're going to give this guy 30 minutes, he's going to shoot a ton. And if he just gets hot, I think he'll get up 10 plus shots in this spot. So I really like Seth Curry. I mean, again, this is another one of those spots where we're going to definitely rely a little bit here on projections and see what happens here. I could see a guy like Isaiah Wong playing minutes. Like, it could be very slim pickings, but I don't overlook Bridges. This is a fantastic spot for Bridges, fantastic spot for Micic. Those are my two main plays, assuming that Ball, Martin, and Miller, who are all doubtful, get rolled out here. But Charlotte, definitely at the top. One of my top teams to target here, just overall on this slate. We got New York at Washington, 228.5 total. Knicks, a 11.5 point favorite. Brunson, questionable. Mitch Rob out. And on the Washington side, Bagley and Bay out. Poole, questionable. So on the Knicks side, I mean, if Brunson sits, which, I mean, it's calf tightness. It's Washington. They should dominate this game. Could definitely see this actually happening with Brunson sitting in this game. And if he's out, McBride is under 4K. He's one of the top value plays on the slate. So don't overlook that. Towns has a lot more upside if Brunson's off the floor. Hart, Bridges, OG, all these guys, I mean, they play so many minutes, more opportunities presented if Brunson's out. So, I mean, I'd bump all these guys up. I don't think I'd play more than two Knicks in this spot. I do worry a little bit about a blowout. I don't think McBride comes off in a blowout. I think he would be okay getting like normal minutes here. But I think some of these other guys could get off the court. Maybe a guy like Precious plays a couple extra minutes. But they've been very, very consistent about limiting him to around 20 to 22 minutes. A couple blowouts, they've given him a little bit more extended run. So could see him if you want to play like the blowout angle here. If Brunson gets ruled out and you want to like take some tournament shots on McBride and Precious like stacks, just under 4K, building, stars and scrubs type of lineups, I mean, go for it. I don't think it's the craziest thing. On the Washington side, I mean, obviously Jordan Poole matters a lot if he's in or out. I think as a hip, he missed the game the other night, so it's tough. I mean, we just saw this game play, and it stayed close, and it was a really high-scoring overtime game where there was a ton of production, but we still didn't see a ton of production from Washington, like fantasy-wise. I mean, Champagne had a huge game. Columbia had a big game. Brogdon had a big game. I mean, those would be the three that I'd target here. If we get news that Poole is out, Carrington at 5,500, I think, is another guy you could take some shots on here. They still spread out the minutes quite a bit in that OT game. They gave, looks like 8 guys over 20 minutes a run in the overtime game. 2 guys had over 40 minutes. That was Champagne and Carrington. So Champagne ended up playing like the last 3. He almost played like the last 20 minutes of that game. That's wild. So Washington, it pulls out, way more interested in, like I said, taking some shots here on Champagne and Carrington. I mean, you could take shots on Brogdon. He's a little bit more expensive here at 5,900. Kuzma is not on the injury report, so I mean that could potentially hurt a guy like Champagne a little bit. I didn't even realize that Kuzma is going to be back here. We'll see what his minutes are. I mean, he was out for 10, 11 games. So I missed that. That's my bad. I didn't realize that Kuzma's back. So watch that. I assume that potentially hurts maybe Sarr or Champagne. But if Poole's out, I still want to take some shots here on some of these other guys. Clippers at Pelicans, 221 total here. Clippers a 6-point favorite. Kawhi and Man out. Alvarado, Ingram, and Zion out. Missy questionable for New Orleans. So going to the Clippers side here. First, I mean, it's the same guys we've been playing. James Harden, I feel like his price is up there. He obviously still has some ceiling. I think Norman Powell still has a little bit of meat on the bone. KPJ, I know he missed the game on, I think it was Friday. but it was an illness. He's good to go. He's been crushing. His fantasy point per minute is great. His usage off the bench has been awesome. So I really like KPJ. I've been playing this guy all year. Not going to stop playing him now. Just kind of looking really quick. It finally came up. All right, so his usage 34, 27 and a half, 30, 21, 27, 24, 32 for KPJ in his recent games. So hard not to like him and what he's doing. He's first guy off the bench right now, checking in for like Chris Dunn, and he's getting a ton of usage. And there's been times where he finishes fourth quarter and like stays out there and gets even more runs. So KPJ at 4,400. Still don't mind taking shots on him. Powell and KPJ would be my favorites here. Pelicans have struggled against centers this year, so I think this is a really decent spot for Zubac, especially at 7,600. I don't think a lot of people will play him, so I don't mind taking some tournament shots on him. What's up, Derek? Chat. New Orleans side of this game. I mean, obviously watching this Missy news, if Missy were to sit in this game, I mean, I assume Daniel Tice would get a few extra minutes. They do have like Robinson, Earl, Herb Jones. Like these guys could play minutes too. I think Tice has the most upside out of those guys. DeJounte 8,500 is the guy that I want to play. I feel like the price tag is really right where it should be. So it's tough, but I mean, his usage has been great. It should continue to be great. Over 26% in 5 of his last 6, 5 of his last 7. So the usage is good for DeJounte. Wish he was getting up a few extra shots, but I mean, he does have triple-double upside at 8,500, so I don't mind large field tournament shots on him. I don't necessarily hate Trey Murphy at 6,900 in this spot if Missy ends up getting ruled out. I mean, again, I think Robinson, Earl, Tice, Jones all kind of maybe get a bump if Missy sits. So, I mean, I think I'd take shots on Tice. I think Tice has the most ceiling for his price. Denver at Utah, 237.5 total here. Denver a 7.5 point favorite. Kinkar and Gordon out. On the Utah side, Collins doubtful, George questionable, Hendricks out. On the Denver side, I mean, I want it to be Jokic. We're going to have a ton of value to pay up for Jokic. I think it's probably Jokic or Kyrie or both. The thing is, I mean, Jokic is kind of all over the place, but I mean, when you're looking at who can get 70 and 80 fantasy points, he has to be at the top of your list today. So, I mean, Utah has struggled against point guards all season. So if you're not taking shots on Jokic, I think you take shots on Jamal Murray at 7,700. I think that's the direct pivot. You could potentially play both of them if you wanted to. I don't think I like Michael Porter Jr. a lot in this spot. The minutes for Westbrook kind of consistent here recently. I don't think I get there either. I think overall for me, when I'm looking at Denver, it's Murray and Jokic, and I have a lot of interest in Murray today. I hope he doesn't have a ton of ownership because I think he's a great tournament option today. Utah's just been like the first time these two teams played, he missed one of the games they played, but the other one he had 47 fantasy points, so good spot for him. And then on the Utah side, I mean, Collins being doubtful definitely helps a guy, I guess, like sensible, play a few extra minutes at 3,900. Again, I mean, it's just that time of the year where we have a ton of value, it seems like, on every slate where stars and scrubs. I think in tournaments, you could take large field tournaments, you could take shots on Civi at 3,500. If he gets the minutes, he's going to get shots up. I mean, Collins being out should benefit Markkanen. It's like Lauri Markkanen just isn't that high usage guy that we're kind of hoping for this year. I think Kessler has the potential to crush in this spot. He's averaging 46 fantasy points against this team in 2 meetings this year. I think he went for 47 and 46, so 46 and a half average. So I think Kessler is another guy you could take some tournament shots on at 6,200. That's kind of it. I mean, Collins doubtful. If George sits, that bumps up a guy like Clarkson. Clarkson's 5,800. He's going to get the shots. He should finish if George is out. So, maybe Clarkson gets some extra run because Collins is out too. So, I think Clarkson is another guy that I kind of overlooked initially. Man, there has been a lot of ejections. I noticed that over the weekend too. There has been a lot of ejections lately. It's crazy. Cleveland at Golden State, 231.5 total here. Cleveland a 4.5 point favorite. Coro out. Peyton and Podsy out for Golden State. Going to the Cleveland side here first. Where Golden State continues to struggle is inside. So I think if you think this game is going to stay close, Evan Mobley has some serious upside in this matchup. Finally saw Allen kind of play basketball against Denver the other night. That was good. He had some steals. He finally had a double-double. That was the first double-double he had since the 20th. Not a guy that you typically see go 3-4 games without getting a double-double. I prefer Mobley over Mitchell today. I don't mind taking shots on Mitchell. He's usually the guy that I play here. But I honestly, Garland's been playing really well lately, so I think I'd save the money and go to Garland over Mitchell. So Mitchell's probably going for 60 now that I said that. Mobley would be my main target here from Cleveland. On the Golden State side, they play so deep. It's so hard to love anything from this team. We thought we were getting Dennis Schroeder game the other night. That didn't happen. I don't know what to root for with Golden State. I think Kuminga is the answer. I think Kuminga has the highest ceiling on this team. It's just minutes. It's a really tough matchup overall. Kuminga is probably my favorite because I think he has the highest ceiling. I've been playing Jackson Davis a lot lately, so I don't mind, taking some shots on him. His rebounding has been great. So Jackson Davis, if he can get that double-double, it gives you an extra point or two. So over 29 DK points in 5 straight for Jackson Davis at 4,900. So nice value there. A ton of value on the slate. It is not going to be hard to play Jokic if you want to play Jokic or Murray. I think the contrarian build today is like a balanced build, but I don't know if that works because there's so much good value. It's not even like there's bad value. Dallas at Sacramento, 228.5 total here. Sacramento a 3-point favorite. Luka Exum out, Marshall out, Lively questionable. Crowder questionable for Sacramento. Is that a thing? Jay Crowder? I guess he gets a couple minutes every once in a while, but he's questionable. On the Dallas side, loving what we're seeing from Kyrie with Luka off the floor here. Double-digit 3 attempts in 3 straight games. He has way more upside with Luka off the floor. Good matchup against Sacramento. So, obviously, some interest in him. With Luka out, Dinwiddie at 5,200 is, again, one of the top value plays on the slate. There's so much value on this slate, but Dinwiddie, he's just too cheap. He benefits a ton. If Lively's out, I want to play Gafford at 5K. He's been a guy where all he needs is minutes. We say it all the time. All he needs is minutes. Once he gets the minutes, he crushes. So if Lively sits, I have interest in Gafford. But overall, it's Kyrie. It's Dinwiddie. I think the price tag on Clay is probably right where it should be. I think I only played Clay this year against Golden State. I don't know if they play anymore, but it's like the team I play Clay against is just Golden State. Because he has what? He has 2 games over 40. One is against Golden State, and the other one was the first game of the year. So Clay's upside. Whoever was telling me in chat that day that Clay's upside, they were right. I was wrong. Sacramento. I mean, Sabonis, again, we have a ton of great center plays. I think this is a fantastic matchup for Sabonis. He should absolutely crush in this spot. It's a tough matchup for Fox, but I don't really play the matchup game with De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's another guy I think you could definitely take some shots on. DeRozan's price is probably right where it should be. Monk seems overpriced. Murray seems like he's a guy that could potentially benefit here at his price point. Overall, yeah, I don't know. Mike Brown getting fired recently. Maybe this team shows up a little bit more, and Sabonis, and it comes from like Sabonis and Fox, in my opinion. I don't mind Murray at 5. It's just we have so many good value plays. I just don't see myself getting to him. So kind of looking at the expensive plays here from Sacramento, running back Kyrie with like a Sabonis. Finish it out with Philadelphia at Portland, 223 total in this game. Philadelphia 6-point favorite. Drummond, Embiid, Gordon, questionable. Martin and McCain out. Portland side, Banton, Kamara, Grant, Williams, questionable, Tybal out. So, of course, 10 o'clock game. We have 3 10 o'clock games, so it's not as bad. It's not like a standalone 10 o'clock game, but a lot of injuries here. Obviously, the biggest one is Embiid playing. I mean, if he's in or out, if him and Drummond are both out, Yabusele becomes one of my favorite plays on the entire slate at 4,500. I would see him playing big minutes here. Maxey, if Embiid sits, is a guy that I'd take some shots on. If Embiid's out, I mean, I don't even hate the idea of taking some shots on Paul George. I think overall, though, like Maxey is the guy if Embiid sits. If Embiid plays, I think he's an excellent pivot off of Jokic. I think he's another guy that has like 60-plus point upside. We just haven't really seen him dominate the boards as much as we kind of want for his ceiling. On the Portland side, I mean, Grant, Kamara, Banton, like a lot of question marks here. I mean, they've been giving Sharp a lot of run here recently. If they keep doing that, he could keep crushing at 6K. A lot of interest in him in this matchup. I don't hate the idea of Simons just in tournaments because I don't think he'll get a ton of ownership. If Grant and these guys sit, Danny Advia is someone I don't mind at 5,500. I don't even hate the idea of playing Scoot Henderson at 5K, depending on who's in and who's out here. So I think a lot of the Portland side of this game just kind of depends on who sits and who plays. But I think kind of adjusting here, Scoot, Danny Advia, Sharp, Simons, all should play really solid minutes here if these guys end up sitting. So a lot of potential here on the Portland side. I miss baseball too. I definitely think I'll do something with the morning grind for baseball. Like I messaged on Twitter, I'm going to take the next month or so off. I'm not going to do anything with NBA. And just kind of enjoy some time with the family. Had a great family day today. So looking forward to that. I mean, I've spent a lot of time grinding. So excited for some family time. But definitely think I'll do something with baseball. I'll be around. I'm going to be doing some MLB content, I'm sure, with RotoGrinders. And obviously, like I mentioned on my Twitter post, I'll be doing all my NASCAR stuff will be on RotoGrinders still. So that'll be the only place that my NASCAR stuff will be for this upcoming season. All right, let's play the morning grind game. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. I'm going to kind of go a little off the board here. A lot of it, man. There's a lot of people down here. There's a lot of good value plays on this slate, depending on some injury news. I am going to go with some injury news that we have right now, though. We have Ball, Martin, Miller, doubtful, man out. Give me Seth Curry at 3,500 to go 7x today. A little off the board. I'll be around. I'm not going anywhere. I always try to update people, but I'm not leaving like Discord or anything. So I try to update people on Twitter. That's what I use to post and stuff. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm planning on doing stuff with RotoGrinders. They're planning on having me do some stuff. It's just how things work sometimes. Over 8K to go under 5X. I mean, there's a lot of good plays today. I know this could easily backfire, but give me James Harden. His usage just down just enough. The assists are down just enough. So I think James Harden is the guy I don't get to in this range. The other one that I don't necessarily love here, but I could see him having a good game is Steph Curry at 9K. Seth. Like, my name is Steven. I know, obviously, a lot of people know that, but everybody calls me Stefan now because of Steph Curry. So I never used to be like that, Steph. Thanks, buddy. I blame you. Favorite 6X play, give me Dinwiddie. Favorite GPP ceiling play, Jokic. I mean, it's hard not to have Jokic as like the high ceiling play today. I mean, I could say Sabonis or Kyrie up there. Like, those would be like the guys that I'd have in the same range. But Jokic, I think, has the highest ceiling on every slate. But with that said, my Let's Get Weird GPP play today, Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray is a really interesting tournament play today. I will be playing around with like having him on my single entry team for tonight, because I think this is an incredible spot for him. And I could see Jokic maybe just kind of going for like 50 to 60 and not crushing me, and Jamal having that big game. So I think that it's an excellent spot for Jamal Murray. He's my Let's Get Weird GPP play. Hope everyone has a fantastic Monday. We're back on Tuesday talking some hoops. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.